Hi, Mrs. Russell. I wanted to discuss some different strategies with you that I think could enhance your student relationships and feedback opportunities within your own classroom. What are your thoughts on the relationships you share with your students? Are you able to communicate effectively with your students?
I would be more than happy to learn some new strategies I can use in my classroom. I feel as though I have a good relationship with my students, but since they are only in my classroom for 75 minutes a day, it is somewhat a surface level relationship. I am able to provide them feedback through graded assignments and assessments, but would like to learn more about how I can give them face to face feedback.
So let's discuss some options that you can easily take back into your class and implement. Options that are pretty simple. The relationship between the student and educator is very important. Developing a personal relationship with all students is important because it allows you to have insight to your students' personal lives. Knowing more about each individual allows for them to be treated as an individual, which improves their chance of being successful in your class.
So, you say building relationships is a way to increase student success. What are some strategies I can use in my classroom to strengthen these relationships?
The first thing I would recommend is to let your personality shine. Show them that you are not only their teacher, but a regular person as well. Discuss things that you like to do outside of your job. Things like hobbies, sports you like to play, family activities, etc. Sharing these things allows them to understand that you are similar to them, you just have a different role to play in the classroom. Once you start sharing interests and hobbies with your students, they will start to share their own with you. This deepens the relationship you have developed
I
with
love
them.
how that will allow me to learn more about my students, as well as they get to learn more about me. It is also so easy to implement, as it is just a discussion that has to take place. How simple!
In order to continue to strengthen the relationship with your students, make sure students continue to feel involved in their own education. Ask for their thoughts and opinions on how their schooling is going. This allows them to advocate for themselves, come up with relevant ideas for the classroom, and voice any concerns they may have. Doing this ensures that students feel validated and respected, which is another aspect to creating a meaningful
I
relationship.
see how making sure students are involved in their learning can create a respectful and validating learning environment.
Let's move on to discussing effective feedback with your students. It's important to take into consideration the personality and sensitivity of each student when providing them with effective feedback. Try to focus on providing feedback on a particular skill or piece of knowledge when talking to your students. A rubric used during grading will help with this. The rubric also allows the student to understand specifically what they need to improve upon. Although there may be several things that the student needs to work on, focusing on a single thing can help with their success in the classroom.
I can see how honing in on a single skill or piece of knowledge will help to improve the student's success, as well as to not overwhelm them at the same time. Each of my students has a different personality, which means they can handle criticism, even when constructive, differently. I agree that conversations with students should be personalized and sensitive to them.
One final piece of advice I would like to offer you is to make time to schedule one-on-one conferences with each student. Scheduling time to have a private conversation with students will give them a chance to ask questions they may not ask in front of their peers. This is a one-on-one time that allows for feedback to be personal, effective, and meaningful. It can sometimes be challenging to find the time to meet with each individual student, especially in classes with larger numbers. So time management is an absolute requirement. Quick and effective meetings can be scheduled when other students are working independently in order to achieve this.
These are such simple yet effective strategies I can take back to my classroom and implement. I will reflect on the relationships I share with my students as well as how effectively I am able to communicate with them. Thank you for taking the time to discuss this with me.
Mrs. Russell, I can't wait to see how you implement these strategies into your own classroom. Let's plan to meet in about a month to see how these things are going for you. I'm always available to help and to answer any questions, whether it's in person, through a text, a phone call, or an email.